forgot to record. Okay, so for our first practice set, we have these problems here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly label them. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And let's go over some rules, everybody, before we even get started. So remember, for problem number 1, let me erase this 1 right here because I need to write something there. For problem number 1, it's actually positive 2, as we know, plus 5. Now remember, the first rule is when signs are the same, we add the numbers, okay? Add. And when the signs are different, we subtract the numbers. Subtract. Oh, okay. Kieran, that may be because of internet problems. Go ahead and log out of the Meet and come back in, and I think you'll be able to see. Okay, and let me know if that doesn't solve it. Okay, so for this first example, everybody, we have two signs that are the same. So positive 2, remember the positive belongs to the 2 here, and this positive or plus belongs to a 5. The signs are the same, so we're going to add those numbers. Okay, and so 5 plus 2 is going to be a 7, and the answer gets the sign of the parents, right, which is positive. So that's about as easy a problem as you can possibly get. That's also a problem you already knew how to do. Okay, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I will ask you to solve numbers 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to add one more thing. If the signs are different as they are here, remember you're going to subtract, right? The answer will get the sign of the number that is normally bigger. Normally bigger. All right, so I'll give you a minute for that. You should be able to do it pretty quick. Give it a shot. Good question. And if you don't see a positive or negative, or if you don't see a sign, it's going to be positive. Okay. Question. Yeah. So you're saying if it was this? Oh, I see. So if it was 3 minus negative 4 like this? Okay. Yeah, if I would prefer you put parentheses if there's two signs in the middle, but we'll get on to that, Jules. Let's go ahead and focus on this problem set first, and then we'll get to that next screen. Okay, guys, let's get to it. So for number 2, notice that the signs are the same here. And I'm going to move a little faster because I know you guys can do that, all right? When the signs are the same, you add the numbers. In this case, it's going to be a 7. So it's going to be a 7, and the number 7 gets the sign of the parents, which is negative. And I want you to understand what's happening. Negative 3, you start at negative 3, and then you're minusing 4 more. So what's happening, and I hope more doesn't confuse you, but you're moving more to the left on a number line. And so the answer is becoming even more negative. than the two numbers that were added together or subtracted or whatever the case is, right? So that's number 2. Number 3 you have, which is here, you have two signs that are separate. They're different signs. So you're going to get the difference of 1 and 2. Don't worry about which one comes first or which one you put on top. If it makes it easier, put the larger number, the number that's normally larger on top when you're doing a subtraction problem, and just get the difference. And the difference of 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, is going to be 1. And what's the sign of that 1 going to be? Go ahead and comment that. Okay, Josh, you can ask share or make your comment, and other people go ahead and give me what the sign of the answer is. Okay, so let me just answer that real quick before I get to Josh's comment. It is positive because 2 is normally larger than a 1, normally, and the sign of the 2 is a plus. So it's going to be a positive 1. Josh, what's your comment? Okay, thanks, Josh. Yeah, there's different ways of thinking about it. I want you to find the best way. I hope the way that I'm teaching you is also pretty good in terms of helping you to understand the material. For number 4, you had positive 5 minus 2. The signs are different. Okay, you guys, so you're going to subtract. It's going to be a 3. And the 3 is going to get the sign of the larger number, or the digit that is normally larger. In this case, it's the 5. So you have a positive 3. Okay, so we ran through these. Give me a Y in the comments, like a letter Y, if you understand how to do this, and we're ready to move on to the next piece. Okay, that's what I... All right, you guys, so check this one out. Practice number 2. Now I have to go over this with you. These problems all have something in common. They all have two signs in the middle. Okay? And this is really confusing for some kids in the beginning. They're like, what? What do I do here? I'm going to show you how easy this is. When you have... Yeah. Okay, Kieran, can you do me a favor? And anyone, this goes out to everybody else who needs another practice problem of the kind that we just did, because we have so much to cover on this review. Buddy, do you mind staying like a minute or two after we get to the end? And that goes for everybody else. And if you can you please give me a Y? And moderators, let me know if that's okay, because that would really be helpful for us to cover everything we have to cover. Perfect. Thanks, Kieran. And I promise I'll help you to understand it really clearly. Okay, let's save our comments for a second, guys, because I really need to go ahead and cover this. I want to make sure that we all understand at least this piece, because it's kind of new to a lot of you all. Okay, so unless it's a question, questions are okay. So when you have two signs in the middle, you're going to make them into one sign. Now, if the signs are different, those two signs combine to become a negative. But if the signs are the same, in other words, if there's two negatives like they are here, or two positives like there are here, those signs combine to make a positive. So, let me show you what I mean. For a problem, let's go ahead and call this, what were the other problems? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's call this 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, so now, you see how there's a plus and a minus here, a positive and a negative? Those two signs are going to combine to make, because they're different, they're going to become a negative. And now, after that happens, everything else is really easy, because this 3 that was here just goes down. And that negative now belongs to that 3, by the way. The negative 2 that is here will also be brought down. So your new problem is negative 2 minus 3, which we should know more or less how to do, the majority of you guys. Okay, let's go ahead and do example number 6, and I'll ask you all to work out these problems that are here after. Do you see how there's two signs in the middle here? They're both the same. What are those two signs that are the same going to turn into? You can type it into the comments. And moderators, let me know what you see. Okay, so what do we see, moderators? What do those two negatives turn into? Okay, so those two negatives turn to a plus. Those two signs that are here, these two negatives, will turn into a positive, because they're both the same sign, right? And then the 2 that is here goes down, and the 5 that is here also goes down here. So all we're doing is we're basically merging the two signs that are in the middle. And if they're the same, it's pretty easy, because it turns into a plus. Okay, you'll get the hang of it, you all. Let me show you this example number 7. You see how the two negatives here are the same sign? What are they going to turn into because they're the same? Either you can write either a plus or a negative. Oh, moderators, let me know when there's about 3 minutes before class ends. That'll help me a lot too. Okay, so what do we have? Good. Plus symbols. And the same thing happens for example 8. They're the same, so it's going to be a positive in the middle or a plus. Okay, for number 7, bring down the 2 and bring down the negative 4. For number 8, bring down the 8 and bring down the 6. Okay, now once you have it like this, I think that this is more familiar to you all and you can solve these problems. Let's go ahead and start with number 5. So you see how number 5, now this is what we were doing in the previous screen. The signs are the same, so you're going to add. That's going to be a 5. And because the parents are both negative, the actual answer here is going to be a negative. And for number 6, what are the signs for number 6? So what's the sign of the 5 and the sign of the 2? Yeah, there's a plus here for the 5, and so it's a positive 5. Okay, so there's a positive in the 5 and a positive 2, so the signs are the same. Okay. So so hold on. Let me talk, please. So what we have here is we have two signs, and when the signs, since the signs are both negative, when the signs are the same, they basically merge and they become a plus. And that's why it's a plus here, or a positive. Does that make sense? Okay, so because the signs are the same, now you have to add. So 5 plus 2 is going to be 7. And because the 5 and the 2 are both positive, this is going to be a positive 7. And you all know what this problem is. It's like saying 5 plus 2, which equals 7. Yeah, I can definitely tell you what that means. So on the number line, you see how it's the first thing here is a negative? You're actually moving this way. But since there's another negative here, you're actually reversing directions, and now you're going this way. And so at the end, the sign ends up being a positive. Okay, so that's the actual reason why that pretty much occurs. Let's go ahead and move to number 7 real quick. So you all see how it's like the signs are different, so you're going to get the difference. What's the answer for number 7 going to be? Good, Calvin. Great. All right, so now we're starting to get the hang of this. And for number 8, it's actually a positive 6, right? Because there's an invisible plus right in front of that 6. Plus 8, signs are the same. You're going to add. It's going to be a positive 14. Or you can just write 14. Both of these are acceptable answers. Okay, let me know if that makes sense so far. Let me see if we need another problem like this or if we're okay. And if we're okay, please type in a Y for me so that I can get a feel for it, for how you're doing and understanding. Okay, good. And remember, you guys, and I do this for 5B too, if you need more reinforcement for these problems, since we do have to get through the whole thing, stay back a few minutes. I highly encourage that. Okay, so something else you're going to see, and this is something that should be a little bit more familiar to you, is these kinds of problems. So if I say to you, where is the blue dot on the number line for this problem? Where's the blue dot? On what number does that land on? Before you answer, I want you to notice that it's moving in 4s. So 4, this is going to be 8 here. Okay, so taking that into consideration, does anybody know where that blue dot is? Yeah, it's going to be positive 16. And here's a really good tip. This right here could be like 4 times 1. This is 4 times 2, 4 times 3, and 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. That's one way of thinking about it, and it's positive. So you can write positive 16 or just 16. Now I wanted to start with these problems, but I thought that the ones that I did before required more. Okay. But let me finish next time, moderators, please, so that I can finish what I was saying. And what I was going to say is that these are more review problems, like the kinds that you've seen before. So I wanted to start with the more challenging ones that I began with. Okay, Jules, can you make it quick, please? No, you can't say negative 16 because negative 16 would have been, hold on, negative 8, right? Negative 12, negative 16. Negative 16 is here. But we're not talking about absolute value here, right? We're talking about what this blue dot means. Or, yeah. So that's a little bit different, absolute value is. Okay, good question though. All right, so if I say move the dot to negative 8 on the number line, and I think I'm just going to do this one for you because I know you guys probably know where it is. If this is negative 4, let me make that a little bit brighter, and it's moving in 4s, then negative 8 would be right here. So be careful with that, everybody, because the way that I've been giving you examples is like if this were 1, this were 2, this were 3, like that. But what some problems will do is they'll jump around in like 2s or 4s or 8s. Okay? So something to be careful about. Be mindful of the details. Okay. So this is kind of similar to what you've seen before. And what you're basically doing with this problem is you're saying what the blue dot is. It's the same as the ones you've seen before, but this number line is vertical. Okay, and all that really means, and we know this, is that if you start at 0, up, everything that is up is positive, and going down is negative. So where is that blue dot? This being the case. I'll give you a hint, it's a negative. What do we have? What do we have, moderators? Yeah, negative 30, good. Excellent, good job. Okay, you guys have this, let's move forward. All right, now what if I asked you all to order both this example or this problem and this problem from least to greatest? Go ahead and start with, let's call this number 1, and see if you can do that from least to greatest. Go ahead and type it into the comments. And whoever has the first answer, you can just read it out loud, and I'll see if you guys are correct. Yeah, please stay. I'm sure you guys don't have to put out a fire. Please stay. I want to get to the very end. We're almost done. Okay, so what do we have for this one? From least to greatest. Number 1. Okay, that's fine. Jules, go ahead and mute yourself, please. Excellent. So negative 75. Negative 75 is the lowest number because it's the most negative. Then there's 0. You got it. 25 and 50. Now for the one down here, because I know we're probably running short on time, it's going to be the most negative is negative 83. I know it's a little counterintuitive. Then it's negative 45. Then it's 12, and then it's 90. Okay. All right, so far so good, everyone? I'm assuming yes. Okay, look. You're also going to have problems like this. And if you feel like you need to review this type of problem, because I think, moderators, have we run out of time? Gotcha. Okay, so if you want to stay, I can review practice number 6, and I can also go over how to add and subtract integers. But before you leave, don't say bye yet. Quick, do I have another one? So this, real quick, I'm changing the screen. I want to show you this. So for part 2 of today's assignment for math, you have n.2 add integers. And I want you all to go ahead and complete 10 problems on iExcel for this, and this will get you ready for what we were talking about in the beginning. I also want to go ahead and say that this n.2 is not under 5th grade math. Technically, it's under 6th grade. And the reason is that we've done so well that we've covered all the 5th grade material for this year so far. So congratulations to you. And that's why I've had to resort to going into the 6th grade for this last unit on pre-algebra and negatives. Last but not least, as a reminder, feel free to look over Monday's lesson, video and assignments to review for tomorrow's quiz. And as I said before, feel free to stay back. And I'll be in office hours today if you guys have additional questions. Thanks you all. If you want to stay back, please stay back with me and I'll help you with your questions. Thanks everybody. Good job today. See ya. Goodbye. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, I can't see who's left in the meet still, but first come, first serve. Whose questions first? Okay, I don't know who that is. Who is that person? Is it Danny? No. Yes, it's Danny. Okay, Danny, what's up? What's your question? No, no, Jules. Jules, Danny's asking me a question right now, and I need to answer it. And it's under sixth grade math. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's N.2. Okay, Danny, you don't have to take notes for today's video. That's why I didn't write anything. I just wanted you all to just basically view it and absorb it, and enjoy. Okay, bye, buddy. All right, Danny, is your question? Yeah, tell me. Well, who was that? Yeah. Okay, Iris. Yeah. So I can tell you, I can answer your question real quick. Yeah, so the answer to that question was that I mistakenly posted that and I quickly deleted it. So don't worry about it. You're okay. Yeah, that was like a backup post that I did at some point. You are done, young lady. Good job. You're welcome. Bye. Okay, who do I still have on call? Anyone here?